Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on whichever part of the world you are tuning in from. And in fact, I'm so excited to welcome you to yet another promising edition on the Forex Morning Mastery with Sheriff Daramola. The last 24 hours has been very sluggish and a little bit choppy since the week began, of course. And one of the reasons why we can say that was because of the observation of the US Labor Day, which actually happened yesterday. It took me quite a while before I knew. And we can see that there was low liquidity in the market, and as a result of that, we had a sluggish start to the week. However, during the early hours of today, we begin to see some traction in favor of the US dollar across all the major pairs, especially when the market is a little bit risk averse at this point in time. So we are going to be deliberate on that. And in fact, in preparation for today's trading session, I have conducted a comprehensive price action based technical analysis using simple parameters such as trend lines, key levels, and of course chart patterns to gain valuable insight into the historical price movements of this asset. And for those who are following me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you definitely would have gotten an update as regards to how we are going to be managing our positions for today. So we are going to be delving deep into this and doing some more elaboration into what is really going on in the current market structure. So for this week so far, we have been monitoring three major assets, which are the GBPUSD, the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot, and of course the USDJPY. For those who are joining us for the first time, you are highly welcome on board. I'm very, very glad to have you around with us this morning. Now, you might be asking, what is this all about and what really are you doing here? Well, we come here as technical traders on a daily basis in anticipation of both the London and the New York session, where we of course come here to review if we do have any existing position on how to manage that position, while we also strategically position ourselves ahead of both the London and the New York session. So this happens on a daily basis, technically starts 8:05 a.m. UTC, and I encourage you to be part, stay tuned in and try to be part of the subsequent session, as the more time you spend with us, the better you get in understanding how this works and eventually be able to use the information you have gathered here to make your own independent trading decisions. And one more thing I would like to state here is that whatever we are doing during the Forex Morning Mastery with Sheriff Daramola is simply a follow-up detail to my previous top-down analysis on this asset. So during the course of the weekend, I normally share a top-down analysis on the asset we are going to be looking at for the week. So if you had not watched my video on those assets, it's important you watch them, as it's going to be serving as a preparation for this live session. And in fact, going through that video will make you have a background knowledge of how we got to the current market structure that you will be seeing on the 1 hour time frame, where we shall be deliberating on. And of course, the 1 hour time frame is of course our execution time frame too. Thank you for being around, and on that note, let's kickstart the live session. Now, before we kickstart, I would like to know in the comment section if the sound quality is good, and of course the visuals are quite all right. This will let me know if we are both on the same page, and of course let me know if it is necessary for me to do some adjustment to make things a little bit better. So I really appreciate your feedback. I look forward to seeing your comments as regards to the sound and the visual quality of this session. I see your comment, Tyson Brian. Good morning to you, Tyson. Glad to have you around this morning and trust you are doing very well out there. I see your comment, Mystic. Good morning and thank you for checking in on us here. So with that being said, here we shall be diving right into the business for today. And as usual, you know how we do it in this community. The first thing we want to be doing is to check on the economic calendar. And for those who have been with me for a while now, you know how important this is, as these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. By monitoring the economic calendar, we can identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns, hereby giving us valuable information that will make us position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on any potential move prior, during, and even after the event. And what we normally focus on are high impact event coming in from the economies that affects the assets we are looking at. So for this week, we shall be looking at economies like the United Kingdom, the United States, and the Japanese economy, sorry. So for today, Tuesday, September 5, there are no high impact events to look forward to. And let's include the medium impact event and see what will come up. Are we going to be looking forward to any event today that will give us an insight into our price? Okay, I think we have one from the United States, and this is coming in about 5 to 6 hours from now, and that is the factory orders for the month of July. And for those who don't know, this index is released by the US Census Bureau, and it is the measure of the total orders of durable and non-durable goods such as shipments, inventory, and other manufacturing levels, which can offer insight into inflation and growth in the manufacturing sector. So it's considered to be a key determinant of the health situation of an economy, and of course a high reading is considered as bullish and positive for the US dollar, while a low reading is considered as negative. Now, if we look at the previous data here for the month of June, it came in at a whopping 2.3%, as you will see here. And of course, economists consensus are projecting a minus 0.1%. So it's telling us that there was not much growth in that sector. That's the expectation in the market right now. But we as technical traders, we are going to be looking forward to see what the actual data is going to be like. Is it going to be as expected, below expectation, or even beyond expectation? But what we're going to do here is to sniff the current market structure in anticipation of that event to see if we can identify structures and patterns that we can use to help guide our trading decisions for today. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. So I see your comment, Richard Blackett, thank you very much, says loud and clear. Princess Abulokwe, good morning to you. Princess, trust you're doing very well. I didn't see you yesterday. I hope you are very fine out there. Tyson Brian, thank you very much for that feedback. I really do appreciate it. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. And as usual, the first asset we are going to be taking on this morning, hold on a second, please. Okay, I think I have it right here. So the first asset we are going to be taking on this morning is going to be the GBPUSD, considered the cable market. Now, it has been quite an interesting 24 hours here. Remember yesterday I told you how I took advantage of a buy position, and of course we did move our stop loss accordingly when price action moved significantly well in our favor. And at this point in time, we begin to see some bearish traction at this point, which is looking a little bit more significant right now. So let's run through this current market structure on the 1 hour time frame, and let's see how the week began for us and what led to the ideas and decisions we made. So at the beginning of the week, initially we saw our price action started around that range between the key level, which we identified yesterday, of course. We had a key level of 1.2600 area, and you know how we use our key level in this community. When price remains above the key level, we look out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of buying that asset. And if price drops below the key level, we look out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of selling. And for those who are not part of our live session yesterday, I would encourage you to watch my video on the Forex Morning Mastery with Sheriff Daramola for yesterday's session, so you can have an idea of how we got to this point. So moving forward right now, we saw price initially caught within that range to emphasize the level of indecision at that point in time. And as usual, when we have this kind of flat channel, we wait for a breakout or breakdown of that range to give us an insight into where price action is likely going. And of course, we saw the breakout of that level to the upside. I told you I had a buy position triggered at that point in time, and I made mention that we will be looking forward to a retest, because as at the time we had our live session yesterday, price had already broken out of the 1.26210 level, as you will see here. And one thing I said here yesterday is that we would want to, for those who had missed out on that opportunity, we will want to look out for a retest of structure where the site of buying pressure will welcome opportunities to buy. So we said we are going to look at either this area or this area for an uptrend continuation. And in fact, if you had followed through, you must have had a buy position triggered here, which unfortunately didn't last long, as price moved about 12 pips in profit before the bearish momentum began. And you must have been taken out in a loss on that one, unless you had moved your stop loss to break even around that point. But it's okay, the market gave us more opportunities here. Now look at what happened here during the early hours of today. And remember what I said as regards to this current market setup yesterday. I said here that if price breaks down that structure and price comes back to retest that level, we shall be looking at selling opportunities. And of course, if you had followed through with that one, you must have about 3 positions running at this point in time. The first one, let's see how many pips that is running with about 70-80 pips right now. The second position is currently running with about 56 pips, while the third position is currently running with about 43 pips in profit. So we have over 150 pips in profit right now, which is not bad at all for the start of the week. And at this point in time, you know how we do it. The next thing we want to be doing right now is to ensure that we secure all sell positions by moving our stop losses accordingly. And for all the sell positions we have right here, I'm going to be advising that all stop losses should be moved within the 1.25850 zone. Of course, we do want to give enough room for price action to breach, just in case there could be scenarios where price could come back, retest to join the downtrend continuation. Now, with a well secured position at this point, what is going to be our next line of action on the GBPUSD? Now, with the current situation we have here, especially for those who had missed out on this opportunity, it is very advisable that you hold on and wait for new setups to evolve before we start considering joining a downtrend continuation. And if for those who are with me on my Telegram platform, I shared an update this morning as regards to the current setup, where I made mention that I'm still not feeling comfortable in the sell position when price was still oscillating around the key level at the 1.26, and I said there that I would need price to break down the structure significantly well for me to think the market has established a bearish momentum. And from what we have here, we have a very strong engulfing candle breaking down that structure. So now that we have a bearish momentum established in this market, at least in the meantime, from a technical standpoint, whenever we have price breakdown structures like this, we expect that some point in time, price will come back to retest the structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum. Now, the question going into the London and New York session right now is, when will the retracement phase happen, and how far will the retracement phase go before the beginning of another wave of bearish momentum? Well, very good question if you had asked that question in your mind. Well, Now, what we are going to be doing here is to start seeing buy pressure resume at some point. We don't know where that is going to be. So we're going to hold on to see where that will start, something like reversal patterns around this area. Then we watch this, use these levels. We have the 1.285 level. We have this one marked out here, which was broken, of course. We also have the key level at the 1.26, and we also have the 1.262100 area. So these are levels that we are going to be looking at to see how price would react to that structure to decide if we are going to be adding more sell position to our existing trade. So let's see how far this is going to go. Will price get to that area before it begins some sell pressure to incite a downtrend continuation? So that is one thing we are going to be looking at here. So let's see how this is going to play out in the next couple of hours. Now, if price does not go that far and instead it transitions into a trend continuation pattern, let's say the bearish rectangle where price consolidates within a range for a while, then a breakdown of that range will be all we need to join the downtrend continuation. But trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates if something significant comes up on this chart. So these are my views here on the GBPUSD. This current market structure remains bearish at this point in time, so we'll continue to look out for selling opportunities. At this point in time, I wouldn't be considering buying at all unless price breaks out of this descending trend line we spotted here yesterday. So remember, we had a descending trend line after connecting the series of lower highs since last week Wednesday to give us something to work with, and the only condition that will make me buy here is price breaking out of this trend line. But I doubt if this will happen at any point in time today. I doubt if it will happen, but if anything of such is going to be happening, I will let you know in the comment section of my TradingView and Telegram platform. So these are my views here on the GBPUSD for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move on to the next asset on our watch list. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page here. So we shall be moving right into the next financial asset. So, but if you still have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. So moving on right now, all right, so the next asset on our watch list is my favorite, the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot. And in fact, we have been selling these assets since the beginning of this week. And in fact, due to low liquidity in the market yesterday, due to the US Labor Day that was observed in the United States, we saw that it took quite a while before this traction began. So let's run through how the market started this week, what led to the idea. And for those who have not watched my video on the XAUUSD, I still encourage you to go and watch that video, my latest video on the XAUUSD, as you will have a background knowledge into how we got to this point. Now, on the 1 hour time frame, what we saw here yesterday was a range. Initially, the market started on a bullish note. Remember, the market started on a bullish note. We saw price started the week around the $1,939.50 level, as you will see right here. Then we saw price climb up into the 1,946, where it met a strong barrier from the sellers, hereby pushing price to the downside. So during the first half of the week, during the first half of the day for yesterday, we saw price confined within a range between the 1,946 level and of course the $1,939.50 area, to emphasize the level of indecision at the beginning of the week. And you know how we do it in this community. Whenever we have this kind of flat range, we want to wait patiently for price action to either break out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or break down of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And while we were saying this yesterday, we noticed a structure within this area which gave us an insight into a potential uptrend. Now, this is what we saw here within that range. We saw this descending trend line. Remember, I need to take you guys through this one so that we can all be on the same page here. So we saw this trend line here. We saw price break out of the trend line, price coming back to retest the structure, giving us something like a double bottom structure, where we of course identified the $1,941.50 level as the neckline of that potential reversal pattern. And one thing we said here yesterday is that we will need a breakout of that neckline to confirm a reversal pattern, something like a breakout. Then I told you all yesterday that we will need confirmations to happen, like a retest of structure. And for those who are part of the XAUUSD live monitoring window yesterday, I made mention of that one in the trading journal, where I said it is very important that we wait for a confirmation before we jump into that buy position. And of course, as you will see, that's never happened at all. And instead, price action went on to break down the support line of that range at the $1,939.50 level to trigger our first sell position for the week. And since yesterday, price has been trading below the structure, and in fact I made mention yesterday that we should be moving all stop losses to our entry point and secure the current sell position. But since yesterday, price is yet to come back into our entry point, so we still have a sell position running at this point in time. So well done to everyone who has been part of this profitable journey, as you will currently be running, if you are taking this position right now, you will currently be running with about 70 pips in profit at this point in time. So let's still maintain our stop losses at the entry zone or anywhere below the entry zone. At this point in time, I'm still not considering this to be a strong bearish momentum at this point in time, unless we see a retest of structure happen, maybe around the 1,935 to join the bearish move to the downside. So let's ensure we move our stop losses right now, secure your current positions while we get ready for today's trading session. So now for today's trading session, what is our plans? What do we intend to do on this current market structure that will help us position ourselves for the next move? So for those who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you definitely would have gotten an update in that regard. But I would like to run through what my commentary was this morning as regards to how we are going to be managing our positions for today. So this morning I made mention here that our sell positions remain active, and it is essential to secure this position given the current buyer dominated area. I will talk about that in a moment. We need a significant breakdown retest of the 1,935 level to establish momentum in favor of the bears. However, it is worth noting that the price is still hovering within the 1,938 and the 1,936 area, indicating the potential strength of the buyers at this point. So let's go back into the live chat. So I was talking about a buyers dominated territory at some point. And in fact, I talked about this during my live commentary on the XAUUSD live monitoring window yesterday. So I told you all yesterday that we have this area here where we saw sellers have been struggling since last week, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, thereabouts, as we saw how at every point in time price comes into this area, we saw buyers taking over the market. And one thing I said here yesterday is that despite the sell trigger yesterday, that we still remain very cautious around this area, Hence, we moved our stop loss to secure that position as buyers could still take over the market. And the only condition that will make us feel comfortable in the sell position is for price to take out all the buy positions along the 1,935 level to emphasize that sellers will be dictating the pace going forward. Now, of course, we finally saw that happen this morning, giving us another opportunity to add more sell position to our existing trade. And I do hope that you add your sell stop order below that structure to capitalize on that move. And in fact, if you had done that, we have another, how many pips in profit right now? We have, though it's not that much anyway, about 20 pips, and in addition to the 70 pips we had from yesterday, that's about 90 pips in profit at this point in time. So well done everyone, for well done and kudos to you if you were on standby to capitalize on this bearish opportunity. So at this point, let's ensure we move all stop losses, secure the position anywhere below the 1,939 and the $1,936.50 level. Seems most appropriate to move all stop losses too. And remember that we want to give enough room for price action to breathe. There are still chances that we could have some retest of structure happening before the downtrend continuation happens. So now, with a well-secured sell position at this juncture in the market, what is our plans for today? Do buyers still have a potential of pushing price to the upside here? Well, let's look at the structure closely and see what is really going on here. Now, if we look at this peak here at the 1,950, remember this was our key level for this week. So since that peak there, we saw a sharp rejection, and since that moment, price has found lower highs and now just found a lower low, which is not yet confirmed at this point. So with a lower high in the market, we want to be connecting the series of lower highs here to give us a trend line that we shall be using to guide our trading activities for today. And in fact, we want to increase the pixel here so that we can have emphasize the importance of this trend line. So going back into the line chart, beautiful, we now have a trend line to work with for today. So what this simply means here is that as long as price remains below that trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our sell position. And in fact, it will help us to position our stop losses level at this point, because in this kind of scenario, you want your stop loss to be above that descending trend line. So as long as price remains below the descending trend line, we feel comfortable in the sell positions. So right now, for those who had missed out on this opportunity, how do we intend to capitalize on this? Now that we finally have a breakdown of the 1,935, it's still not, the candle is still about how many, 50 minutes old, so it still has about 10 minutes to close. So we will need this candle to close below this level to feel very comfortable in the sell position. And in fact, along the line, there is a likelihood that price will still come back to retest the structure. We all know from a technical standpoint that whenever price breaks down a key structure such as the 1,935 level we have here, there are chances that we could have some retracement phase go on in such a way that price comes back into structure. It could be the 1,935, it could be the descending trend line, where the appearance of selling pressure around this area will further give us confirmation that sellers are likely going to be dictating the pace going forward. So at this point in time, for those who had missed out, let's see if the market will come back, retest that structure to incite more selling opportunities. And of course, I will be with you on both my Trading View and Telegram platform to give you updates on what to do if price action indeed evolves into that perspective. So that is that on selling the XAUUSD for today. That is what we are looking at to sell the XAUUSD for today. Now, let us talk about the potentials of buyers. You know how we do it in this community. We also want to keep tabs with the opposite direction too as well. Now, in this case scenario, for me to start considering buying here, remember yesterday I made mention of how that area between the 1,938 and the 1,936 has been a strong territory for buyers in this market. Now, if price action goes back into that area, then the breakdown here will turn out to be a false breakdown. Now, if price gets back into that territory, we definitely want to be looking out for buy pressure to join a bullish uptrend continuation. Now, for me to buy the XAUUSD for today, I would rather want to see price action take out this descending trend line. So if this descending trend line is broken, this will be the first time price will break out of that trend line this week, and it will be a signal that the trend line may no longer have the capacity to continue to negate that bullish attempt. So if a breakout of this trend line happens, then we want to start considering buying this asset. Now remember that we are not going to be getting too excited here unless price action gives us some higher highs and higher lows before the breakout of that structure happens. If we have higher highs and higher lows before the breakout of the structure happens, then we can have the buy stop order to capitalize on the uptrend continuation. But if it's just a surge that breaks out of that level, then we will need some confirmations to happen, which will come and reflect on the chart as a retest of structure before jumping into that buy position. And of course, we have multiple levels here that we can use to maximize the potential of that bullish move. So the only condition that will make us buy the XAUUSD today is for price to break out of that descending trend line. But if price still remains below the descending trend line, we shall feel very comfortable with our bearish buyers in this particular market. So that is how we are going to be managing our position on the XAUUSD for today. So it's a simple setup. You can see how important the descending trend line is, and of course the 1,935, and depending on how price reacts to this level today will determine where price action will be going forward. So these are my views here on the XAUUSD. For those who have a sell position, please ensure you secure your current sell position at this point in time while we wait and see how the market will play out from here. So if you have any questions whatsoever as regards to the current market setup, I will really appreciate your feedback. I really appreciate your questions. Just drop it in the comment section, and trust me, I am here and willing to be of help in that regard. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before we move right into the next financial asset on our watch list. All right, so I see your comment, Mahan. Good morning, Mahan. It's been a while since I saw you. I trust you are doing very well. And how are you doing? It's been a while. Trust you are doing very well. I'm glad to have you around with us here this morning. Risco is asking that what is my trading view link? Oh, okay. You can search for Dark Sherry. It's spelled DARCSHERRY, or you can check the link scrolling at the bottom of your screen right now. You will see the user ID for my TradingView platform. So it's just at the bottom of your screen right now. Look at it and you can easily find me with that user ID. So I'm glad to have you around. Okay, Mystic just told me now that the sound quality is not clear. Okay, thank you very much for that feedback. I really do appreciate that. So please let me know now, is it okay right now or not? I really appreciate your feedback, please. Thank you very, very much. So in the absence of no more questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page. So I will be moving on to the next financial asset. All right, so So the next financial asset on our watch list for today is of course the USDJPY. This is the most simplest setup of all the assets we've been monitoring so far this week, and in fact price action has moved significantly well in our favor in the last 24 hours. Last 24 hours. Now, what did we see here on this chart yesterday? What is it that we saw that incited the idea of buying this asset? Well, the first thing we saw on the 1 hour time frame yesterday was a range where price was initially confined, and that is between the 146.350 and the 146.00 area. Now, with this flat channel here, you of course know how we do it in this market. Whenever price falls into this kind of range, we want to wait patiently for a breakout or breakdown of this range to give us a signal of where price is likely going to be going. And of course, yesterday I told us all that we already have a buy position triggered yesterday, and for those who missed out on that opportunity, in fact the market came back to retest the structure to incite that uptrend continuation. And for those who are part of this move, well done to you for being on standby to capitalize on this move, as you will currently be running with about 65 pips in profit, which is not bad at all for a pair like the USDJPY. So at this point in time, we do want to be moving our stop losses right now to secure the current buy position as we look out for more opportunities in this market. And the most appropriate area I would allow us to move our stop losses to is anywhere between the 146.700 and the 146.500 area. I want to have enough room in this market to allow price action to breathe, as there could be situations where a huge retracement phase will come before the uptrend continuation happens. So let's give enough room for price action to breathe on this asset. So now, with a well secured position here, what is going to be our next line of action for today? Well, for those who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you will definitely have gotten an update on what our plans are for today. And in fact, it's quite simple. We already identified a new level at that psychological area at the 147.00 area. As you will see, price after touching this area, we begin to see some sudden pressure come in around that area. And considering the area being a psychological level, considering the round figure of that price, I'm of the opinion that a breakout retest of this level will be welcoming more buy opportunity. Now, for those, there are two ways to which we can capitalize on this opportunity, and that depends from what angle you are coming from. Now, for those who are already profitable on the USDJPY, that is, for those who were part of this journey yesterday, you can afford to leverage on the profit you have made so far to test waters around the 147.00 area to see if the buy position there is going to click. So as a result of this, you can have your buy stop order just right above the 147.00 level, and let's see how that works. So even price goes against us and takes us out in a loss on that one, we will understand that we're just leveraging on the profit we had made so far this week. So we're still going to be on the positive side of our portfolio. However, if you are joining us for the first time and this is going to be your first position of the USDJPY with us, then definitely you want to be waiting for confirmations to happen before you jump into this position. And what you are going to be looking out for here is a breakout of structure happen first of all, after which you scale down to the lower time frame, like your 5 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes time frame, to look out for retest of structure, signs that sellers are finding it difficult to break through the 147.00 area. And of course, this would reflect on the chart as buy pressure to incite an uptrend continuation. So that is how we are going to be managing our position here on the USDJPY. And there's one more thing I would like to add here, and that is the trend line that we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for this week. Of course, since the beginning of the week, it has been bullish and price action has been finding higher low in this market. So let's connect a series of higher lows here to have something to work with for this week. So we have this marked out right now. So we have a beautiful ascending trend line after connecting the series of higher lows here. So we shall be doing some little adjustment when we bring back our candle chart so that it can test all the pivot lows we have here. So price remains above our ascending trend line, which is a very good sign for us to feel comfortable in our buy position. And please note that the possibility of a retracement phase is still open in this market. And in that regard, if the sell pressure persists here, there is a chance that price will come back to respect that ascending trend line one more time to incite an uptrend continuation. And if that is going to be the case, we want to have a line that we shall be using to guide that move. Now with this scenario here, let me bring my line chart at this point. I think let's have a maximum point around the 146.670 just in case we have sharp rejections happen around this area. So we have the 146.670. So let's mark these levels out on our chart, please, as we shall be needing it as a reference point to guide our independent decision if price action ever comes into that zone. So we have the 146.670 level marked out, and in fact it also shares a confluence with that ascending trend line. So let's see if the sell pressure persists below the 147.00 area, then I will be looking out for, I'll be patient to see how the market would react to the trend line and the 146.670. So if we have buy pressure around this area, then definitely we want to be part of an uptrend continuation. So that is how we are going to be managing a buying perspective on the USDJPY for today. However, if at any point in time price breaks down both the ascending trend line and the 146.670, then we want to be getting ready for a momentum shift. But remember that we are not getting too excited here. We are not having a sell stop order below that structure, as we will need some confirmations to happen before we join any bearish move. The breakdown there could still turn out to be a false breakdown, so we really need a confirmation to happen. And of course, this would reflect on the chart as a retest of either the 146.670 or the ascending trend line, where the continued selling pressure below the structure will be all we need to be part of a bearish momentum. And also remember the fundamental aspect of this market too as well. As you all know, we are within a zone where the Bank of Japan intervened last year, and as a result of this, there could still be some emotions of fear in this market, as majority who buy around this area will want to be closing in some of their position, leaving a small size position just to ensure that they are in the market if price continues to the upside. And because of this fear, we need to be very, very careful. Let's ensure we secure all our buy position around this area, and the tendency of a crash here cannot be neglected. So these are my views here on the USDJPY. It's a simple setup we have on this asset today. We have our trend line, ascending trend line. If price continues to remain above the ascending trend line, we feel comfortable in our buy position, and the only condition that will make us sell the USDJPY today is for us to see price break down, retest that level, then we want to be joining a bearish move. But of course, don't worry, I will be with you in the comment section of both my trading view and Telegram platform to give you updates on what to do if price action gets into those structures. So these are my views here on the USDJPY. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we round off for today's trading session. And you can as well use that time to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions. All right. Okay. I can see a handful of comments right here. Um, Mumbuzo Sierra is asking, do you analyze DXY? Well, I don't. I don't analyze DXY. I don't. I don't. All right. David Chweya, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't. XAUUSD uptrend on high time frame, 4 hours time frame. Well, of course, if it turns uptrend, we are ready to be part of that move. So we already have setups we identified on the 1 hour time frame, which we are looking forward to take advantage of the uptrend continuation if it happens. And in fact, I will advise you to watch my video on the XAUUSD, where I emphasized and talked about how price action is on the higher time frame. So please watch that video. You get to understand a little bit more into that current market structure. I hope I made myself clear there, David. Adeni Babalola, good morning to you, Adeni Babalola. Okay, I will check on that. I will check and see. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. It's a bad habit for me, anyways. Okay, I see. Koneka Osiopet. I do hope I pronounced your name correctly. If I didn't, please, I'm very sorry. I'm not. I don't think I know the letters here very well. Well, we just attended to gold, and I hope you are part of the session. I hope you didn't miss out on that one. And if you have any question as regards to our analysis on the gold, please let me know. And if you did miss out on that session, well, there's going to be a replay of this live session immediately after the session. So stay tuned in so you can watch the replay on the gold metal. Okay, all right. I see your comment, David. You're welcome. I'm very glad you found the content helpful and useful. So I dropped a comment. I talked the XAUUSD live monitoring window. I just dropped the link in the comment section. You want to click on the link, click on the notify me button so that when we get online, you will be notified in due time so you can be part of that session. So the XAUUSD live monitoring window, for those who don't know, was born last month. I think we've been running this platform for the past 6 weeks now, and in fact it's an avenue where we all come here to follow the XAUUSD price action real time and see how to position ourselves ahead of next moves, how we manage our existing position, and how we also negate position if it is necessary. So you do want to be part of that session. It promises to be interesting, and you can always be part of the comment section, drop in your ideas, and I will definitely respond as well. So with that being said, here it has been a wonderful moment with you guys this morning, and in fact we were able to take on 3 financial assets today, which are the USDJPY, the XAUUSD, and of course the GBPUSD, where we were able to identify simple setups using parameters such as trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns to position ourselves ahead of the London and New York session today. I'm very confident that we are well prepared as we simulated all the potential price movement that could happen during the New York session today. So on this note, I want to wish you all the best of luck, and please don't forget to support this project. If you have found this content helpful and useful in making your independent trading decision, kindly support this project by clicking the like button. Your likes are valuable to me, and in fact it also helps the algorithm to push the video to a wider range of traders who may find the content beneficial to them too. Thank you in advance for doing so, and for those who already liked it, thank you very much for your support. I really do appreciate. So it's on this note I see a comment now. Sarah says that, sorry, I'll call you Sierra. I hope that is quite okay. Please do consider the DXY for us, your new followers, if possible. Okay, all right. I will see what I can do about that. One thing, the reason why I don't do the DXY is simply the DXY is not a US dollar index, of course, and it tells us the major direction of where the dollar is. Of course, you can use it as a reference point for your decisions on your major peers. And one thing I just know here is that my major peers tells me, based on the price action there, tells me the psychology of what is going on in that market and how we can position ourselves for the next move. But if you trade the DXY, basically it's not that you're using it as a correlation or reference point, then let's see if we can include it into. Okay, I can just do that for you, basically. Let's see if majority in this forum or in this community are rooting for the DXY. Let's do it like that. If you are rooting for the DXY, let me see in the comment section. And if I can see 4 or 5 people say they want DXY, then we'll definitely include DXY on our watch list going forward. All right. So on this note, I would like to call it a day here. You're welcome, Princess Abulokwe. Glad to have you around. And I look forward to seeing you right in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform, and of course during the XAUUSD live monitoring later today, 5 to 10 minutes into the New York session, as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye-bye.